Justin, so good to have you back on, mate. Lots to talk about. Obviously, the All Blacks squad announced last night New Zealand time. But just briefly, the Blues, worthy winners of the Super Rugby final. Let's say that out loud, man.
Worthy winners indeed they were, Marty. Absolutely. Look, I think what they've shown this year is the ability when they need to bring their game into big moments. And I certainly felt that a final is the biggest moment, obviously, that you're going to get in your campaign. And they just really fronted. And, they went about their methods as they stereotypically have done throughout the season, just by playing in the right areas of the field. And when they get in there, they're just very, very hard to get the ball off. They accumulate points really well, and that proved to be the case on Saturday evening, and they thoroughly deserve to be crowned champions.
Yeah, so now, I mean, my mind goes a million miles an hour at these things going, wow, okay, so they're the Super Rugby champions. They were really convincing. Now we get the All Blacks squad announced. How is the All Blacks team going to play style-wise? Is it going to be a mirror of that? Because what Vern Cotter has done with that team, mate, is he just, to me, it's kind of like he's, you've got a car, you've got lake pipes on the side and dice and Big Mags. He's just stripped it right down and said, what is the purpose here? It's to get us from A to B as quickly as possible. Let's do that. So it's, can you see the All Blacks adopting some of that, just some of that old school, even what Crusaders used to do, what us old guys used to watch the All Blacks, which is just get in their half and start dominating from that point on? Or when you look at the overall makeup of this squad, is that not a squad that's going to do that? It's going to be playing a different style.
Well, I certainly hope that it's a combination of both. I certainly feel that there are areas that the All Blacks have always been strong historically, and equally you do have to try and play to your strengths, and that's obviously looking at the squad and what the balance of those strengths are going to be. But also, I think they do recognise that what the All Blacks have really struggled with in recent times, as we've spoken about quite a lot, is this really aggressive line speed defence that narrows the field. And I certainly feel that trying to combat that by going negative and not wanting to play in your own half and kicking the ball away unnecessarily and not being prepared to play the entire field is not the way that historically we have been successful as a nation. It's not what makes us dangerous. And I certainly feel that this coaching group led by Scott Robertson is aware of that. The All Blacks are at their best when they have the ability to play the field at any stage for when they see it and see opportunities, rather than be a territory-based team. So yes, at times you can play that type of style, but I certainly hope there's going to be a big change up in mindset where we're prepared to use the ball from all parts of the field.
Justin, there's 5 new caps, and we'll talk about them in a second. But when you do look at that squad, essentially it is the same group of players that over the last few years have clocked up a hell of a lot of records, as we've talked about a lot, that the All Blacks wish we'd never had, losing to Ireland, losing to Argentina, losing at home to Ireland, a record defeat to the Springboks. And the thing that worries me the most, I suppose, is when I look at it, I'm looking at where is the bulk? Are we going to be able to front these teams like Ireland, even England's big forwards, France, South Africa? Are we going to go toe-to-toe with these guys, or are we going to have to play a lot smarter?
Look, I think what we've got to now try and think about is not trying to be dominating in one particular part of the game. So, like, let's use scrum as an example. Okay, we're going to have the best scrum in the world, and by having the best scrum in the world, we're going to play certain players in those jerseys. And then but that doesn't mean that they're the most skillful player in that jersey. What I'd like us to think a little bit more about would be just getting parity, making sure our scrum is solid. It's a great platform to launch off. Yeah, you might not be getting pushover tries all the time, but your front rowers are ball players, and they have the ability then to balance out the entire 8. And that way, then I feel that we're not trying to concede that we're not going to be physical, but equally, again, you've got to try and break open defence by using the ball and every player being able to pass under pressure, post contact, pre contact. So. Yeah, look, it's a bit of a funny one. I don't think you want to really often roll up your sleeves, and this happened even when I was playing, and try and play 80 minutes against South Africa and try and run over the top of them, because that's just playing into their hands. So hopefully there's a blend of smart, but equally making sure that we don't try to dominate the game in one area in particular that were really well balanced is the word I'm probably looking for.
Justin Marshall, 81 Test for the All Blacks, and calls it all on Sky Sport as well, people. So, when I see these names, I'm a bit of a worrywart, as you know about these things, mate. And I look at these names and go, are these players demonstrably better now, this year, after this Super Rugby season, than, say, they were at the World Cup last year? Are they better players now than when we played against Ireland? Is it about getting those combinations right? Because when you look at the names, no one's sort of standing there screaming out going, wow, we've suddenly found a world superstar here.
No, well, that's right. But these players, I think, have very much been to the coalface in the last few years, and they will recognise and know, a lot of them, particularly the experienced ones, where their faults have been, and getting clean, fresh eyes on that and overlooking it in terms of an entirely new coaching group. Now, let's not forget that it's not just the coaches that have changed, and these players have had this entire coaching group's had a real clean out. A lot of the backroom staff that have been there for a long time. So when they walk into this environment now, not only are they having brand new coaches, they're also having brand new physios and massages and all that sort of thing. So there's a real revitalizing sort of element to it, which I think is really, really important, because there's probably been just a little bit of too much complacency in that coaching group that came all the way from Steve Hansen, and Foster didn't really change anybody. So that'll be something different for the players as well. So, yeah, I certainly feel that there will be an element of freshening up. I certainly feel that there's enough, I guess, new enthusiasm injected along with the players that have probably hopefully learnt from what's happened at World Cups, and particularly the last two, but equally in general Test matches when we've dropped them for no real reason when we shouldn't. So hopefully there's a lot has been learnt, and they're going to learn more about how they're going to play better.
The new boys, we've got a brand new prop in Tosi, Satiti, loose forward, off the back of the scrum for the Chiefs. Cortez Aratama, number 9, he comes in. He's brand new. Billy Proctor, rewarded for a great season for the Hurricanes. And George Bell as a hooker. Justin, this is one of the greatest days in New Zealand sport, I always believe, when the All Blacks are announced and the newbies get named. And all of us numpties, just, I don't know what that must feel like, but it's a life-changing experience. It must be enormously proud for everyone connected with you. You've been through this. And then I think, okay, what is the feeling when you get named again? Because there must be a mixture of relief when that happens, a hell of a lot of excitement. And it's equally rewarding as well. So just talk us through both of those experiences that you've had when you first get named, that additional that adrenaline rush you get, then when you get renamed as well.
Yeah, well, obviously when you're being touted as being in the mix, you're never ever really taking that for granted, and you certainly know that if you're playing good rugby, then hopefully that you are in the conversation, but you never ever really realise that name will be read out. I think it's always one of those ones that you can never be assured of. You can never know what the coaches are thinking, and equally, like that jersey and being in that environment is something that I guess you dream of, but it's really, really hard to sort of taper it. It's a real surreal feeling being named for the first time, and that huge sense of being, at the very, very peak of your powers, and knowing that you're hopefully going to get an opportunity to play for your country in the All Black shirt is, it's just the greatest feeling that you can have. It doesn't matter whether you are 19, 20 years old, like a John Alomu who first got named, or you're like a Frank Bunce and you're in your sort of mid to late 20s, makes no difference, the age. It's all about that incredible privilege and that honour of walking into a very rare, esteemed club, and walking in those footsteps. You just won't ever forget. I always said after my Test debut that I would have been happy and replete. We ran out there, we won at the Parc de France in a convincing performance. Everything went well on the day, and as an All Black, I would have quite happily hung up my boots and said, I've been there, I've done it, I've represented my family, my friends, and my country, and we've done a great job in the jersey. But then, obviously, you get that taste, and you want more and more, and you want to keep being involved, and that's what it's like when you get renamed again. Like, it never ever goes away, never dissipates, that feeling of being an All Black. It's always there, and you just want that. It's like a hunger, and I'm certainly sure that some of those All Blacks that haven't had a lot of time in the jersey in recent times, TJ Perenara, Anton Leonard-Brown, through injuries, they would be feeling exactly the same as they did when they got named for the first time, and it's great to see that they've got their opportunities again.